3 points to be made on this Feast of the Holy Family. One, how the feast continues and almost completes the teaching about Christmas. Then some comments on our own families, perhaps, and then some advice on living out our relationships in family. Each year, the church celebrates the Feast of the Holy Family on the Sunday immediately following Christmas. On Christmas, we celebrate incarnation. We have the birth of the Savior, as we have it in front of the altar, born in a stable, wrapped in swaddling clothes. And we have shepherds and a few early wise men. But some think that the birth of Jesus is so different than our own, from its conception to its surroundings, that the Feast of the Holy Family reminds us that he is indeed one of us. That just as the vast majority of people are raised in a familial relationship, so is Jesus. Mary and Joseph and perhaps an extended family. We don't really know too many details, but we can assume that, given the differences in his culture and ours, that family was the ordinary day-to-day experience. And we too then can relate to that in a way that we are raised in a family. Not the same type of family, and we have all sorts of different families these days. We have the nuclear family, we have the single-parent family, we have the multi-generational family. We might have experiences in all sorts of different ways, but in the end, it's about relationships. We don't live an extraordinary life such as Jesus did, nor are we a great missionary to foreign lands or a great social worker, or not even a hermit who lives by themselves. But we live as mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters. To be sure, there are 100 different stories in families. On Christmas Eve, I was part of 88 Hoyes and cousins who gathered. And if I looked around, not the room, but the various rooms, there are lots of different stories. There's success and failure, there's pain and sorrow, there's joy and happiness, there's marriage, there's divorce, there's surgery, there's healing, just like your own. We are all different, and yet we are the same. We are in relationship, one to the other. My point today is not to talk about the differences, but rather the similarities. The third and final point is advice, not from me, but if you are of a certain age, you remember Lady Bird Johnson, who talked with that Texas twang and urged everybody to plant a tree, a bush, or a shrub, she would say. And Washington really is a beautiful spot, a more beautiful spot because of all that she did during her time. But when she was older and a widow, still in her late 70s, she was asked, what kind of advice would you give to people on how to live their lives? And she said that she would ask people to do each day a little bit more than they thought they could. That's not bad advice. Do every day a little bit more than you thought you could. And within our family relationships, couldn't it be that we might forgive a little bit more than we thought we could? Or that we could love a little bit more than we thought we could? Or that we could be patient a little bit more than we thought we could? Or that we could encourage a little bit more than we thought we could? The root word for family in Latin is similar to a servant. And it speaks about the relationship we ought to have within the family, that we ought to see ourselves in service to the other, that we don't always put our needs, our interests, our desires first, but that we look out for the other with whom and in whom we are in a familial relationship. Doesn't always work, but maybe on this Feast of the Holy Family, it's a good time to try.